And absolutely, nothing that we say here is meant to have a political slant. We are just literally putting out this information there and framing it so that you can understand the legalistics of it better. So let's take a look at it. So as Rob said, Article 1, Section 8, Congress holds the primary authority to initiate and sustain military engagements. And that goes in. Then you also have Clause 11, which is declaration of war. You have Clause 14, which is raising and supporting armies and navies. Clause 15, calling forth the militia. And then the necessary and proper clause, which is sort of the catch-all provision. Then the president has, under his Article 2 powers, he is, as named in Article 2, the commander-in-chief. And he has the authority over all the military, period, end of story. That he directs them. That is his sole purpose. I mean, that is one of his sole authorities, is he's a commander-in-chief. What he says goes, period, end of story. But then there's another thing which, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if we were that cheeky kind of podcast, I would put a clip in here there of Cartman going, "You will respect my authority."
Right. And maybe we will anyway.
Sorry, that's just,
But
continue.
The other thing that people are also overlooking is that also the president is the sole authority for dealing with other governments. Congress has no play in that whatsoever. He is the sole person that works out treaties, that negotiates with other countries. There's actually legislative acts out there which prohibit Congress from getting involved with other leaders. Everything has to go through the executive. That's why they're called the executive authority. And the president is the head of the executive branch. So that's something that people are overlooking, and they're like, and I'll tie that back in later on.
Right.
But I'm sorry.
I was going to say, from that point, and in the time from the Constitution being enacted in the 1780s, we get up to 1823 with President Monroe issuing the Monroe Doctrine, saying in no short order, everyone out there in Europe and in the Eastern Hemisphere or whatever, in this hemisphere where we are, the United States, we're claiming dibs here. This is our turf. Keep your freaking hands off, or there's going to be some trouble. And the Monroe Doctrine in the 18th century really carried some weight. And over time, just because of geography and the way things have gone in history, we haven't really raised it much since. It kind of comes up anecdotally with with Grenada in 1983, with the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1961. It was banned, but the Monroe Doctrine really kind of set the table for us, but really hasn't really been discussed a lot. And then, well, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, I say, but people talk about the crisis I want to say crisis. The issue we're having now that we're talking about. They talk about, you hear some people talk about the Monroe Doctrine, then they talk about the War Powers Act from 1973.
Right where I was going to go.
In 1973, Congress pushed through legislation over the veto of President Richard Nixon, the War Powers Act, which in a nutshell, and Lou will get more technical about it, but from my memory, it was, look, President we look at ourselves in the Congress, and we're not overplaying our cards here, but we're going to say, before you do anything and declare war or do anything like a war, you've got to get the blessing of Congress to declare war. And if you don't, and you start hostilities within 60 days, you've got to stop. And oh, by the way, when you start those hostilities, you have to notify us about those hostilities. I think it's within 48 hours or something like that.
Right.
And quite frankly, since 1973, both political parties have kind of disregarded it over time, as we've talked about.
Pretty much.
So, but now it's being raised again. It's actually legislation. It's on the books.
But that's the thing. It's legislation on the books, but there's also been challenges, and it's something that people have talked about where, is this constitutional?
Right.
It's law that's looking to limit the authority that's inherently in the Article 2 powers of the president. And